All right, everybody. I'm not going to say welcome. I'm going to say thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for all the growth I've had on both of my pages. And thank you all for definitely giving me tips, pointers, pat on the back, or a slap in the face. Whichever one you gave me, I appreciate it. But I'm really just kidding. But I'm not kidding about the guest I got today. I got a serious guest that is very interesting in her own field. She's very unique. As you know, on my podcast, I come out with different and interesting guests. And this guest here knows how to use illustration to her own advantage. And she's been in this space for probably quite a long time because of how good she's able to be able to create in her space. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to speak to our audience and introduce yourself to them.
Thanks so much, Ray. I'm an illustrator by trade, but after graduating college and needing to monetize my work, I figured out that if I put it on a jigsaw puzzle, not only can I monetize the art, but it also forces people to look at every single detail of my high detail work. So it's a little self-serving in that respect, but it has worked out well so far. I've been in the puzzle business for about 7, 8 years now. And it's been a great learning experience. I've learned a ton about manufacturing and freight and business management and all this stuff I never thought that I would need to know. And I've got big moves coming up in the next year or so. So it's scary, but I'm excited to be doing some big girl business moves.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your business here when you first started, because I feel like you probably started as a child at actually illustrating and then you kind of made it into a business. So is that the case, or please explain if I'm wrong?
Yeah, it's exactly right. What happened was when I was a little kid, I drew this picture of a squirrel, and everyone in class made a big deal about how good it was. I don't even know if it was that good, but from that moment, I was like, oh, I guess I can draw, and so I drew more, and that really set me on this path. And I found out that I actually have a lot of artisans in my family history that never
Mm.
really considered themselves artists because it was all uh, like craft work and carpentry and painting pottery and things like this. And when I piece it together, it really makes sense why I'm doing this. So yeah, I drew my whole life and I never really considered anything else. I had no idea that illustration was really a job. I just knew that I wanted my day to day to be enjoyable. So I'm like, what
Yeah.
do I enjoy doing the most? Drawing. So let's figure out a way to do that for money.
Okay. So I had this burning question I've always been wanting to ask you. You have some unique Instagram posts, and I feel like, no, I'm serious. I feel like they're like tattoos on puzzles, and then they're also like realistic. Like I feel like they come to life. So is that the intention, kind of like a tattoo feel and come to life feel that you bring to your puzzles and the things that you do when you illustrate?
Yeah, I've the artists that I've been inspired by, underground comics artists like Robert Crumb, but then also, you know, Dutch Renaissance painters like Hieronymus Bosch and Jean Van Eyck. And so by combining all of these different influences, it just kind of evolved into this particular style. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of tattoo art and high intensity line work drawings and stuff. So by combining all of these, it kind of my whole vibe just kind of developed organically. And by being truly interested and invested in these different communities that I'm appealing to, I'm not having to go in and be like, buy my stuff. I can just be like, hey, look at this cool thing that I made that we all like. And then it's like, take my money. So I think I used to do sales. I did sales for 8 years before this and I hated it, but
Yeah.
using those skills to sell something that I actually believe in and that I like and that people want, sales feels so much different, rather than pushing warranties on computers or something horrible.
Right, right. Okay, I can believe it too. I worked in sales at one time myself too, and it's just the pressure of the sale industry is just not fun. But I also have an artistic background. I was in AP art and I did those things when I was in high school. I never pursued anything like you have. But I do want to bring this question to you. I remember my art teacher told me she was challenging us in there. So she said, I want you to draw something blindfolded. You can't see what you have until you feel like it's done. Have you ever done anything like that?
Yeah, that's actually a common exercise in art
Okay.
classes. It's called blind contour drawing. And you can either do it with your eyes closed or looking at the subject and not looking at your paper. And it's a really interesting way to work. And it can help build that, um, the, what would you call it? Coordination between
Mhm.
your mind's eye and your hand, which is, I think, the most direct path from what divine creativity to creation is this brain to hand thing. And so to be able to channel that through you without sight is just a really fun exercise. But yeah, drawing one, that is a really common exercise, and I think it's really fun too. Sometimes I'll do it while I'm driving. Don't tell anyone I'm
Yep.
drawing and driving, but
Okay. No, I understand. I understand. Now, this is for the Instagrammers here or Facebookers. If they go and look at your page and they scroll down and look at your pictures and things like that, what should they expect to find?
well, my current feed is mostly my illustration work, drawing, and I do have some content about the puzzles and stuff, but I've always identified very strongly as an illustrator. And I've been really scared to move into the puzzle company stage of my business. I've been pretty resistant to that for whatever reason. But
Mhm.
at this point, I just recruited a team of interns that I'm kind of, I, it was having such a hard time finding people, professionals that would care enough that aren't already doing their own thing. So I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and just like mold these interns into what I need. So I've got
Okay.
intern Ash. She's excellent at outside sales. She's coming to conventions and running the booth with me. I've got intern Michael, who is great at photography, and I'm trying to get him into the content creation space because I know that'll be lucrative for him after this. And then intern Samuel, who is just a diabolical genius. I've got him on product development with me. And so, I'm making sure to pay them and try to keep them interested in this so that they can work with me until they get better than me, and then they can help me, when they surpass
Okay.
me, which they will eventually. But yeah, this year I'm gonna have to rebrand and like build a separate web presence for the company rather than just my personal thing. But so far it's worked well selling part of myself as the product. People like to support the artist, but if I want to grow this and, become a publishing company, publishing other artists' products and things like this, which is a goal of mine, um, it's time to make that move. And it's terrifying. It's a big leap. I'm dealing with bigger numbers, like more money. And, but, I got no kids. Like, this is all I'm doing. So why not all in, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, this is for my audience here that knows that I do stories and things like that. So I got a situation. I do like a situational story question. So I got one for you. All right. So just imagine you're out, maybe you're at the lake or somewhere else, and you see a little kid playing, and you're out there drawing, illustrating, whatever you're doing. And this young lady, probably about 8, 10 years old, walks up to you, and she asks you, "What are you doing?" And you tell her, and she says, "I would love to do that one day." So, what instructions would you give that young lady if she wants to pursue something that you have obviously achieved?
This actually happens,
Mhm.
because I go draw at the lake a lot. I go to the zoo and I draw the aquarium I was just drawing, and people get curious. Like, if you're sitting there on your computer, no one's gonna come up to your stuff, but if you're sitting there with a sketchbook drawing, you better believe someone's gonna come up and ask you about it, which I don't mind. I'm an extrovert, but I actually this is kinda dorky. I keep a pack of little moleskin notebooks in my bag with me, And
Okay.
it's happened not just with kids, but adults too. They'll be like, "Oh, I used to draw. I used to do this, used to do that." I'm like, "Are you doing it still?" They're usually like, "No, I'm not very good, blah, blah, blah." And it's so corny, but I will give them a little notebook and I'll be like, challenge you to draw something every day for a month, even
Mm.
if it's just something stupid, like before you go to bed, 5 minutes drawing, whatever. And I don't know if anyone does this. I just give it to them and like leave them and never see them again. But, you know, I wonder how many of those people keep drawing because even if you're not like good at drawing, it is such a zen practice, to look at a flower and to draw it and to study it. Like it's one of the greatest ways I think to appreciate nature and
Okay.
to really study these little details. So I would tell that kid like get you a little sketchbook and draw every day and keep it with you at all times. All the great creators and thinkers of the world had a notebook. Leonardo da Vinci, like everyone you think of,
Yeah.
all carried around a little oh, sure. But I think it's different when there's something so personal about, holding the notebook and writing in it and it's private. So yeah, I would do that. I would give them a little book and assign them assign them a drawing assignment.
Okay. Okay. So my next question would be, let's say same situation with the same young lady. Let's say a year passes by now. She takes all your advice. She's 9 years old now. You see her sketchbook and looks pretty good. But then she says, so what do I do to make myself better so I can actually probably sell art one day? So can you advise what you would tell her? Well, tell us what you would advise her to do.
Totally. So a lot of young artists that are just starting out are copying cartoon characters, mostly anime stuff, um, which is fine. What I try and convince these kids to do is to spend at least a year studying drawing fundamentals like
Okay.
perspective, drawing shapes to convey form, things like this. And some people find it boring and tedious, but there's so many resources online to learn this. You don't have to go to art school anymore. Just look up on YouTube, and some genius is there teaching you everything for free. And so, I would say go to figure study classes, like find your dad's taking a nap, draw him, like
Right.
something like that, drawing from life, drawing nature. And I think that if you spend too much time steeped in all of the other influences, while that is good, you'll end up just churning out cliche and boring work. And also, even stylized characters and cartoons and stuff, they need to be based in the fundamentals of real life and drawing because we all know what human bodies look like. And that naturally, when you see a character or a background or something, even if you don't know what you're looking at, you can tell if something
Mhm.
sucks, and you can tell if it's really
Yeah.
good. And usually those differences are, is this a technically proficient drawer? And, some of it is talent, but a lot of it's just practice. Like if you draw
Okay.
a face every day for 5 years, you're going to have a damn good face 5 years later.
All right. So what about for you? What is your leisure time when you want to say, put down this pad, put down this pen, step away from the Illustrator desk? What is your go-to maybe meal or go-to leisure thing you would like to do?
Well, I take a lot of leisure time. I have a really good work-life balance, I think. Um, every night, at the end of the night, like when I can't draw anymore, I'm just sick of it. I go to the gym
Mhm.
and I finish my night that way, exhaust myself, come home and eat my body weight in food, and then I pass out. And that's how I end my day.
Okay.
Working out at the gym is like the opposite of my work because my brain is constantly going. I'm running the whole business. I'm doing all this complicated stuff. My brain does not turn off. But when I'm at the gym, you just gotta zone out and lift the weight or walk. You know what I mean? So that
Yeah.
is definitely one of the ways that I decompress. But yeah, I'm an extrovert. I have to go out. Like I go meet up with my friends. I don't drink, but I go to the bars and hang out with them and eat wings. Like, sometimes I'll just drop everything and drive to the beach for a couple of days. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's so important to live life and to enjoy every day. And I feel really lucky that I can adjust my schedule, because when I was doing that 9 to 5 in the cubicle, like I was miserable because that's not how I work. I operate, I have
Yeah.
intense work mode where I'm just like monastic working by myself 12 hours a day. And then I've got other times where for 3 months I can't do anything. So I'm just like to schedule that and try and enjoy it, because I know that work mode is coming again and I'm not going to see anyone for a couple months. So being able to trust that process and know what my propensities are and plan around them is really
Yep.
helpful. But yeah, I just, want to go out and hang out with my friends and like see my family and travel and all this stuff. And last year, when AI started coming out and I was just obsessed with reading about it, I couldn't work. I was just so wrapped up in all this AI stuff. So I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just going to book a bunch of conventions. So I went on tour and I spent the whole year just touring around, and that allowed me to make up the income that I wasn't making because I wasn't drawing. But also like getting out and hanging out with people and also spreading the word about my company. And so that was really fun and really appeals to my extroversion and my party gene.
Okay, so I know you basically said you're an extrovert. You said it a few times, which is cool, and I feel like that's a little unique for an artist. So, do you know other people in your space that's probably extroverts? Because I feel like it would be opposite, at least from my opinion. Do you know other artists like that?
Not a ton. I mean, there are several artists that I know that are great at talking to people and they are, good at the convention stuff because of that. But most of the creatives I know are deeply introverted, and if they had a choice, they would stay completely behind the scenes all the time. But that's the beauty of art, is like our comedian or musician or actor friends who are the product, they are the face of the product. An artist
Mhm.
has the option of just putting their work out there and just kind of like staying back here. You know what I mean? Um, you know,
Yeah.
I like being involved, like to a degree. So, yeah, and it really can get in the way for artists that aren't into the whole in-person stuff and dealing with other human beings. It can really cause a disruption, and it'll bottleneck their progress, because ultimately networking is just being a normal human being and being able to talk to people. And if that's not the thing that you seek, it can hold you back. But luckily, there's a lot of resources around now that can help people do a lot of that stuff and circumvent in-person stuff, like social media. It used to be, in order to make it, you had to go out and win a deal or whatever. Hell, you don't have to do that anymore. You can just do it
Yeah.
from your computer. So they're doing okay, but yeah, it is a strange cocktail to be an extrovert and also to be an artist. And it's definitely served me.
Okay. Perfect. Well, I'm gonna ask you this question here. It's a little off the wall, but we'll see what we can do with it here. So, unique, like travel, uniqueness when you travel. So, was there any unique place, a unique thing that you saw, and you said, "Hey, you know what? I love this place here, and I'm going to try to illustrate this." Was there ever a travel place that you went to and found something like that?
Sure. And I think the most extreme example of that was I went to Rome a
Okay.
couple. It was it last
Oh,
summer, and uh, I didn't speak the language, and usually when I visit places, I'm just talking to people. But I couldn't do that, and so I spent the whole time drawing. And so I had this little sketchbook with me, and it was, I don't know, it was just so cool to be able to draw some of that architecture and stuff like that. But whenever I go on a trip, I do draw, and I draw from life, mainly so that I can write off the trip on my taxes, but also because
uh-oh.
yeah, I mean, I love uh, drawing buildings and people, drawing the things that I see, kind of in the same vein as the Impressionists. You know what I mean? I think it's important to record our time. But yeah, buildings are always buildings and the insides of building interiors and all the details. That's always something that I want to draw. Sometimes I'll see something I'm like, damn, I wish I had time to draw that. It just looks so much fun to draw. And sometimes I'll just draw it in my head, but that happens all the time for sure. But unfortunately, I'm so slow. There's only so many. It's a sad thought, but I realize there's a finite amount of drawings that I have time to do. So it's always a tough decision to know how to spend my drawing time. So, not everything makes the cut.
Okay. Got another question about your creative, space or whatever. And I know artists talk about things that they haven't finished. So do you have any abandoned projects that's sitting in your drawer, desk, or whatever that you was like, I just didn't like this. I don't like it. Maybe I'll come back to it one day. Has there ever been anything like that?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I have ideas, and I have this whole wall on my in the other room where I just have ideas listed out. But I'm kind of a completionist. Like, if I have a good idea that I want to do, it kind of pains me to not follow through with it. Even if it takes 2 years, like the Dracula puzzle I did took about 2 years from beginning to end, but I couldn't believe myself if I had already invested a year's worth of work and blew it off. But the risk with that is, am I going to waste my time on something that sucks? And so I just use all that pressure. And, some people could say it's negative to do that, but it drives me, And so, yeah, there aren't many incomplete projects.
Okay. Well, I got another question for you here. It's a little different, but actually, I'm gonna come back to that one. Let me ask you this here. What are you working on currently?
Well, right now, my big project is the next puzzle. I've got 4 designs right now, these 4 here. And they get more in depth and complicated as I go, because I guess that's just how I like to self-flagellate. But this next one I've got it all laid out on my desk right now. It's about the original edition of the Brothers Grimm, like the old ones that are all grisly and violent and stuff. And I'm actually working with a translator. He's a scholar of folklore and fairy tale, trying to involve more of the history stuff and things like that. I like it to have a lot of depth to it. I don't want it to just be a boring picture if I'm spending this much time drawing it. But of course, for this one, I'm making it so elaborate. It's going to be 6 different puzzles, and it's going to take forever. So in the interim, I have to get a new product out this year. So I'm adapting a piece of art that I did a few years ago and creating a product for this fall. So that'll hold me over till the next year. And hopefully I'll have the first one out by then. We'll see. Fingers crossed.
Okay. All right. So I want to get into something here like I usually do, and it's called a rapid fire. I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to say the first thing that comes to your head.
This is a dangerous game. You know I got a swearing problem, right?
I will tell you. Well, no, you just take a shot. I mean, I felt like it was dangerous too. The first time I got interviewed, someone asked me that, and I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what to do. What are they going to say? So, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but it was actually fun. So, all right. So I'm going to start out with a kind of softball question.
Mm-hmm.
Go-to food.
Sorry?
What's your go-to food meal?
Oh, Mexican food, 100%.
Oh.
Taco.
Okay.
All that, yeah.
All right. Ice cream or yogurt?
Ice cream.
All right. What foreign language would you like to learn?
Espanol.
Espanol? Okay. All right. So let me ask you this. Would you rather collaborate with somebody on a project or do it solo?
Solo.
No collaboration?
I have a
No.
hard time trusting people. I put my high standards on other people, and that's not fair. So
Gotcha. Do you write in the quad or with music?
it depends.
Not
But
write, but actually make art. Sorry, make art. Yeah.
I make art with music. I have music going all the time, but I cannot multitask. So if I have to think, no music.
Okay. So would you rather illustrate inside or outside?
Outside.
Okay. Favorite TV show?
Black Mirror.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, man. He's a soothsayer.
Okay. P. Diddy or no Diddy?
No Diddy anymore.
Oh, really? He's guilty, right?
I don't know, man. I'm staying out of it. I'm already on the Ken Drake beef now. I'm done with P. Diddy.
Oh, okay. Who won that rap battle? Kendrick or Drake?
Come on, Kendrick.
Okay, Kendrick or J. Cole?
Kendrick.
Okay. Is Kendrick the best West Coast rapper of all time?
I mean, I don't feel like I'm qualified to answer the question, but I do love his music. And unpopular opinion, I do think that Thundercat did not get enough credit for making Pimp a Butterfly the wonderful album that it was.
Okay. Celebrity crush?
Jennifer Lawrence?
Really?
I still
Not a
like
guy?
her. Everyone thinks that she's obnoxious, but I think she's fantastic.
Yeah, I would think something else for you, but okay, I like Jennifer Lawrence. She's cool.
Hell yeah.
All right, go-to movie.
Oh, I don't know, man. It's been a minute since I sat and actually like watched it. I like the ones that are kind of sci-fi, talking about the future. I liked Everything Everywhere All at Once. That was a good one. But I don't know, man. That's The Matrix. Let's go with The Matrix. That was so formative. That movie like changed my life.
Oh, speaking of that, Matrix or Terminator?
Matrix.
Even though Terminator was the prequel.
Yeah, sorry.
Terminator prequel. Yeah.
The Matrix came out when I was like 14, and so I think that has a lot to do with it. I kind of like built my whole world on top of that. So I do love the Terminator though, and I do love my Arnold. He is represented on my walls in posters, etc. So.
Okay. Best genre of music?
I'm a rock and roll girl. Specifically, I like 70s psychedelic rock and 90s alternative. And again, that was my formative musical genre, so I think that probably has a lot to do with it. But lately, I made some friends with some EDM folks this last year, so I've been getting into all this electronic music. So I've been questioning my 25-year-old homies about their playlists and stuff. It's been great. I love finding new music. I'm constantly trying to steal people's playlists and stuff. So yeah, I like to meander through all the different genres, you know. But yeah, I'm a rock and roll. I'm a guitar sucker, man.
All right. Coachella or Bonnaroo?
Bonnaroo. Although I'll never go again. I went last year, and I went 2007, 2015, and 2023. So 8-year periods apart. And it was like 3 different experiences. But yeah, Bonnaroo, 100%. You kidding me?
And I went to Bonnaroo. I got so dirty. I was working down there, so it was just crazy.
Oh yeah, it's a gnarly place for sure.
Have you ever been to Burning Man?
I haven't. I don't know that my redhead condition would make me an ideal candidate for that place. I might just burst into flames immediately. But I think that with every 15 minutes applying some SPF, I might be able to survive. I do know a few burner friends who are definitely cool folks. It's all love and all that. So, I mean, yeah, maybe if I had a big ass parasol or something.
Yeah. All right. Have you ever went to the beach and got in the water and seen a shark?
No, that would probably end my ocean career. Although I do super metal to dive my truck into it. And yeah, if I didn't know it was coming, I'd be all right with
Would you rather be on a cruise or fly?
that. I've never been on a cruise. I think that being trapped on a boat with all those people sounds kind of unfun. But yeah, I'll stick to this, guys. How's that?
Okay, okay. All right. So I want to ask you a couple more questions here. If you had a choice to live anywhere in the world right now, where would it be?
Here,
Huh?
here. I love it here.
Where? It
Here.
really?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay, okay.
I'm from Wales.
Anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
from Wales. I go back and forth periodically. Um, I've been to a few different spots and spent a decent amount of time. Um, my all my friends are here. I love the South, like for all the problems that it has. Like I I love that there's kind of we're all in this shit together kind of vibe about things down here
Yeah.
that you don't really get in a lot of other places. People aren't as open and easy to talk to in a lot of other parts of the world. And honestly, like I know the rules of this place. I became a citizen in 2007,
Okay.
and I proudly, call myself a British American. I can't think of anywhere else I'd rather be. Now, all the actions happening here. All my Welsh friends are like, "What about all the people killing each other?" But at the same time, like
Oh,
it's a young country going through puberty. You know what I mean? When I'm old and sick of all this nonsense,
oh.
I'll go to Wales and hang out with the old folks.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask you about Wales, but obviously you kind of hit that point there. But is Wales, I mean, that's really not a travel destination, right? People don't really travel there. It's like they kind of go to like England. It's like other places they go to before Wales. Or am I wrong?
There's actually some places in Wales that are really popular, like beautiful cliffs, and like
Okay.
South Wales has gorgeous countryside, Snowdonia, Llandudno. Like there's some beautiful spots in Wales that are popular vacation destinations. I think that over here people aren't as familiar with Wales because it is a tiny country and it doesn't really get in trouble very much, so it ain't on the news much. Like the big news story when I was over there last was that they had lowered the speed limit from 30 to 20, and it just everyone just lost their shit. It was a big deal, and I was like, that is so cute. That is your news. But yeah, it's just a small and less than known country, but it is gorgeous, and there are some beautiful travel destinations there. Not where I'm from. Where I'm from, it's a little scruffy.
All right. All right. Well, based on characters, my last question would be about a character. And what character that in well, actually not inspired you, but what character would you like to maybe recreate? Like comic book character, something like that,
I think it would be really fun
like
to give Beavis and Butthead a makeover. I've always loved the Mike Judge stuff. Mike Judge is a genius, I think. And
uh
Beavis and Butthead are just such a beautiful and irreverent and disgusting but wholesome in a way duo that and timeless. And I think that they would be really fun to make.
oh, you just gave me one and I can't believe I missed this one. Are you a fan of Family Guy or South Park?
South Park for sure would be my top choice, just because the social commentary in South Park is just so spot on. Uh, Family Guy is great. I mean, I do like the jokes, and he's very clever with the writing on that. And not only been a social phenomenon, we've all quoted Family Guy at some point, But South Park is doing something different. They are, I mean, it's the first show of its kind that really does narrate the status quo since like The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I think it's super important, and I think that they should be inducted into some like Hall of Fame for illustrating our current situation. Brilliant.
I
So
agree.
South Park got 100%. Shout out to Matt and Trey.
All right. All right. All right. Last question here. Who should if I get online and beside you follow on Instagram to be inspired by being a illustrator?
Oh man, there's so many, but some of my favorites would include, I mean, X Payne, Xavier Payne. He's a local artist I actually went to college with. He does music, pop culture, art, paintings, and things like this. Lucy Rice is an illustrator who
Oh,
does
yeah.
like
Yeah.
patterns and posters, and he's got some jigsaw puzzles, which are excellent. Um, there's a ton of new artists coming up. Doing the intern program with Belmont, like there are some illustrators who are just absolutely knocking it out of the park. That I'm really excited to watch their careers unfold. But yeah, I mean, and photography wise, John Joe, good friend of mine, he is an entrepreneur also, and his at's absolutely destroying. His at is at I am John Joe. So he's one of my favorite
Okay.
illustrator, but the compositions and the colors and things like that he's using are illustrative, and I get a lot of inspiration from that because he's working in a totally different field than me, but all of those creative and artistic principles are the same. So yeah, they're all excellent, but God, I could go on for hours about other illustrators who are crushing it.
Okay. Okay. Well, again, this was great. I learned a lot. I had some fun. You actually got some really good fun facts. You answered questions so well. I would love to have you on for a part two because I do want to get into actually illustrating for how they do the creative process for movies and things like that. And I know it's going to take a lot longer for me to do now. So I would love to bring you on for a part two. But part one has been excellent. I'm pretty sure anybody will be inspired by you when you start smiling and you start saying what you're going to say. I mean, I'm sure anybody will be like, oh my gosh, you know what she's talking about. I'm definitely going to listen. So again, I appreciate you coming on here, taking these few questions, and hopefully I didn't scare you off with the rapid fire.
No, man, I love that stuff. Bring it on. But yeah, I'd love to come back. And actually, I taught a visual narratives class at Watkins, and that is about storyboarding and using illustration to convey narrative and story. So yeah, I'd love to talk. I love talking about this kind of stuff. And I'm working here by myself all the time in a vacuum. So yeah, any outlet for me to talk, bring it on.
Okay. Well, again, I appreciate it so much. I want you to shout out how people can follow you on social media, and then we will wrap, and I'll bring you back on again, hopefully sometime soon.
Hell yeah. Well, my Instagram is at Holly_the_red.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of starting to dabble in TikTok, but that's holly.carden. And my website, hollycarden.com. And that's got all my puzzles. And if you go into the sketchbook section, you can see some of my older sketches and just that pen and ink stuff, the stuff that I would advise those young kids to do, drawing people while they're asleep and drawing buildings and stuff. Yeah, I've got all that on my website, so go check that out.
All right. And as everybody knows, this is based on characters. If you want to get some football insight, check me out on No Huddle Football News. And then also, I am writing my novel, so it will be dropping pretty soon. And my short story collection, Ray Goodfellow. You can hit me up there. Y'all know this. I don't need to explain that, but it's coming very soon. And we will maybe even get to some rap beef with her because I didn't know that she knew what she knew, but she did. So we can definitely get into that. I know Drake and Rick Ross are going through a thing right now, so I will definitely check up on that and see what's going on there. But again, Holly, you are excellent. You are an inspiration, and you are a wonderful illustrator and artist. And everybody should definitely start following you. your likes should start to increase. And I just hope you get everything that you wish for in 2024.
Thank you so much for having me, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon.
All right, all right. Well, again, I appreciate it. And like I say again, everybody be safe. I want everybody to be safe out there because it's summertime. We want to enjoy the summertime that's coming up, and we want to enjoy life. So again, peace out, everybody. Until I speak to y'all again, it's definitely peace.